if you want to rob a bank and still make a clean escape, what should you do? The man in the painter's outfit swaggered straight into the bank's main hall. He set down his tool bag, then took out 2 flashlights and placed them on the table. His actions did not attract anyone's attention at all. The man remained completely calm. He pointed one flashlight at one camera, then used the other flashlight to point at another camera. In this way, he disabled all of the Panasonic cameras one by one. At this moment, outside the bank, his 3 accomplices, also dressed in painters' outfits and carrying all the necessary tools, entered the bank together. After that, they locked the door from the inside. Seeing this, the security guard felt that something was wrong. Just as he was about to ask, the handgun in the man's hand was already pressed tightly against his back.
Everybody get down on the fucking floor, now!
Get on your knees. I'll count to 4. If you don't do as I say, you'll get a bullet. Step away from the counter, don't press the alarm, put your hands on the floor. In less than 5 minutes, the 4 robbers had basically taken control of the bank. Whether they were customers handling transactions or bank employees, at this moment all of them were extremely terrified. The only thing they could do now was obey and cooperate. Not long after, a police officer passing by saw white smoke rising from the bank.
Possible 10:30, Manhattan Trust, 20 Exchange Place.
I have got hostages. You fucking cops come near this door, I start killing people. I'm not fucking kidding, man.
After saying that, he turned back inside, shut the door, and locked it from within. As for the rest, he left it for the police outside to deal with. At this point, the first step of their perfect plan could be considered a success. Not long afterward, a large number of police officers had surrounded the bank, and police tape was quickly set up around the area. SWAT officers, patrol officers, all of them were fully armed and ready for combat, making it look as if a small war was about to break out. The chairman of Manhattan Bank's board of directors was also informed about the incident. Money meant nothing to him, but branch number 32 held special significance for him. Keith, a negotiation expert, arrived quickly at the scene with his colleague. Present, the situation inside the bank was still unclear. How many robbers there were and how many hostages there were. The police could only secure the scene and wait for the robbers to come out on their own to negotiate, because based on usual experience, if the robbers wanted to escape, negotiating with the police was unavoidable. At this moment inside the bank, the robbers ordered all the hostages to gather in front of the vault door, with the bank employees standing on one side and the customers standing on the other. After that, they collected everyone's mobile phones one by one. Then it was the last person's turn. This guy named Peter said that he had not brought his phone with him today. But how could the robbers possibly believe such a ridiculous lie?
Where's your cell phone, Peter Hammond?
I left it at home.
Peter, think very carefully about how you answer the next question, because if you get it wrong, your headstone will read, "Here lies Peter Hammond, hero, who valiantly attempted to prevent a brilliant bank robbery by trying to hide his cellular phone, but wound up getting shot in the fucking head." No.
However, Peter still insisted that he had really left his mobile phone at home. So the leader took out the other employees' phones and searched through the contact lists one by one. Before long, he found Peter's phone number in another phone. Everyone then heard the sound of a phone ringing. At this moment, Peter felt a chill run through his heart. The leader found the phone in a room at the back.
Okay, I fucked up. I'm sorry. Please.
Don't worry about it.
Then dragged Peter inside. After that, no one else dared to make any suspicious moves. Next, the leader rearranged everyone again, with the men on one side and the women on the other. Once everyone was standing in place, he ordered all of them to take off their clothes. One elderly woman could not endure such humiliation. She would rather die than cooperate. The leader did not waste any words. He ordered his men to drag the old woman outside. The rest were then given identical sets of clothes and masks to wear. With just that simple move, everyone inside became a robber. Among them was an old man with heart disease. The leader did not want anyone to die at this moment, so he threw the old man out of the bank. After all, he had plenty of hostages in his hands, so one less did not matter. The police outside quickly took control of the old man who had just been thrown out, while inside, the 4 robbers changed into identical clothes. They looked through the vault door, then walked to the storage room. To them, the structure of this room could be considered absolutely perfect. At this moment, Arthur went to see Madeleine. This woman was extremely ruthless, stopping at nothing and willing to do anything for money. Arthur's request was very simple. Inside the bank that was being robbed, there was one of his secrets. Neither the police nor the robbers could be allowed to see this secret. Therefore, he was willing to pay millions of dollars for Madeleine to find a way to get that item back. Of course, it would be even better if all the robbers were wiped out and the police discovered nothing. However, Madeleine had to be present at the scene and keep track of the situation directly. Madeleine did not hesitate at all and agreed immediately. She believed that, in this world, there was nothing money could not solve. If there was, then it was certainly because the amount offered was not large enough. Right afterward, Madeleine went to find the mayor, because she knows his weakness. So when she spoke to him, there was not the slightest hint of restraint. She bluntly demanded that the mayor take her to the scene of the robbery.
What the fuck do you want?
A favor.
No shit. Which kind?
The last one I'll ever ask of you.
That's the kind I had in mind.
You know about this hostage situation?
On my way. What's it to do with you?
All right, well, I need to keep an eye on it. So I want you to bring me down there and tell whoever's in charge to extend me every courtesy.
You're out of your fucking mind.
Now, if it was easy, it wouldn't square us, would it?
It's impossible.
Nothing's impossible. You just have to call in a few markers, that's all.
I may have to give out a few.
And that's exactly what you'll do.
You're a magnificent cunt.
Thank you.
At this moment, Police Chief John Darius informed Keith that, through questioning the released hostages, they had only learned that there were a total of 4 robbers and around 50 hostages. The area around the bank had already been fully covered with sniper positions along with dozens of SWAT officers. Let alone the robbers, not even a fly could get out. At present, in order to ensure the hostages' safety, all they had to do was wait for the robbers to come out and negotiate. At worst, it would only take a little more time. However, inside the bank, the robbers were now clearing out the storage room, as if they did not care about money at all. They did not touch a single bill in the vault. After moving the shelves aside, one of the robbers began drilling into the floor. Could it be that they were planning to dig a tunnel to escape? Outside, after carrying out an investigation, Keith discovered that the vehicle used by the robbers was stolen. All of the surveillance cameras inside the bank had been destroyed with infrared light. Just when they were at a loss over what to do, another hostage was released. This hostage was wearing a metal box on his body. The police all became extremely tense, especially when they saw that he was Arab. The metal box was quickly taken away for inspection to make sure there was no bomb inside, while the bearded man was escorted away from the scene by the police. After questioning him, the bearded man was unable to provide any useful information. On the contrary, inside that metal box, the robbers had written down their demands. Prepare 2 buses to transport the hostages and 1 airplane fully fueled and ready to take off at any time. These were the robbers' conditions. If the police did not agree or were unable to do it, they would blow up both the bank and the hostages. Keith's view was very simple. There was no need to talk. They wanted to make demands based on just a few lines written on paper. Impossible. We have plenty of time. If necessary, we keep dragging it out and see who can endure longer. But not long afterward, the robbers took the initiative to come out. Both sides understood clearly that at this moment there would be no exchange of gunfire. They only handed over a piece of paper with the words that 50 hostages needed food. After handing over the note, the robbers went back inside the bank. Keith and his colleague quickly prepared a listening device. They wanted to take advantage of this opportunity, using the food delivery for the hostages as a way to plant the device and listen in on what the robbers' plan was. At this moment inside the bank, all of the hostages were being held separately in small groups. There was one man who could not endure the sealed and suffocating environment.
Fuck this shit. Look, they want to shoot me for taking off my mask. They can go ahead.
You want to get us all killed?
You want to relax? What the hell is the difference? They're out there robbing the bank.
Coño, qué jodiendo. Can't you see they fucked him
everyone? Shut up. Didn't they dress us like this for fun, puñeta?
I have no idea why they made us put on all of this crap. Probably so when the cops break in to try to rescue us, we all get fucking shot. It's a great plan, but no.
Just as he was going on and on, the leader walked in and dragged him outside with his foot. This kind of person who dared to cause trouble had to be properly punished. But could this troublemaker actually be one of our own people? Before long, bottled water and pizza were placed at the entrance of the bank. Keith wanted to take the chance while they came out to get the food to talk to them a little. Unexpectedly, the leader did not say a single word and gave Keith no opportunity at all. Back in the command vehicle, everyone was focused on listening to the audio coming through from the listening device. At first, they thought it was Russian, so they found a police officer who knew Russian to listen to it, but it turned out not to be. Keith had no other choice but to use a loudspeaker to ask the curious onlookers gathered around whether anyone understood that language. Very soon, a worker said that he knew what language it was. After entering the vehicle, he said that it was Albanian. His ex-wife was Albanian. However, he only knew that it was Albanian. As for the specific content of what they were saying, he did not understand it at all. Hearing that, Keith immediately ordered someone to call the Albanian embassy. After waiting for a long time, they received a reply saying that it would take another month before an interpreter was available. Keith was extremely irritated, and he forced the man to call his ex-wife. A few hours later, the woman entered the command vehicle, with the price for that being more than 200 traffic tickets. The woman agreed to help them translate, but as soon as she heard the content coming through from the listening device, she almost laughed her teeth out, because the content was actually a speech by the Albanian president from several years earlier, broadcast on the radio. Clearly, the robbers were playing with them, and this prank of theirs had succeeded resoundingly. During the time Keith and the others were wasting their efforts for nothing, the robbers inside the bank kept moving the hostages from room to room. After driving the hostages out, the female robber pretended to shout while disguising herself as a hostage. This fake hostage was then thrown into a room. The male robber went around the rooms and then picked out a female hostage from among the real ones. In this way, all of the hostages were confused. Most of the customers did not know each other in the first place, and now they were being mixed up in a chaotic manner, making it even more impossible for anyone to determine who was a robber. Everyone simply assumed that the person being thrown in was a hostage. At this moment, the leader and his accomplices had found Arthur's safe exactly. The female robber opened the lock without much effort. Inside the safe was a confidential file. Beneath the file were more than a dozen packets of diamonds. The value of these things was many times greater than that cash. At the same time, the mayor's car stopped in front of the bank. Keith, as the person in charge, walked up to the car. The mayor said that he wanted Madeleine to take part in the operation, but did not make clear what the specific reason was. Keith found it ridiculous when he heard that. The extremely tough woman told Keith that if he behaved sensibly, getting promoted to inspector would no longer be a problem. The previous case, in which $140,000 had gone missing, would also no longer be a problem. Faced with conditions like that, Keith had no way to refuse. And so, time passed until evening. The robbers inside the bank had dug a very large hole. However, this hole was not used for them to escape, but was used as a toilet. While they were admiring their work of art, Madeleine asked Keith to call the leader.
Someone here wants to talk to you.
Hello?
Who's this?
Let's not get into any names. What matters is what I can offer you.
What's that?
Well, if I can be assured that certain interests are protected, I might be able to help you get what you came for.
I doubt that. Tell me about these interests that you're trying to protect.
Why don't you let me worry about that? Now, what is it you were hoping to get out of all this?
Rich, of course.
Of course. But you may have bitten off more than you can chew.
How?
I can't discuss that on the phone.
You work for the bank.
No.
And you're not a cop.
That's right.
Come on in.
With just a few words, Madeleine obtained the opportunity to go inside the bank. In fact, the leader also knew clearly that she had another motive. The two of them wrestled verbally for a while in front of the teller counter. Madeleine went straight to the point. As long as they did not harm the hostages and did not take the money, she would use her connections so that the robbers would serve at most 3 years in prison. After getting out, they would immediately receive a reward of $2 million. This condition was already extremely favorable. Who would have thought that the leader would directly take out Arthur's file? It turned out that Arthur had once collaborated with the Nazis, amassed an enormous fortune, and opened a bank. If this matter were exposed, he would be regarded as a war criminal, and the entire family would be ruined. With this in hand, let alone 2 million, even 20 million or 200 million, Arthur would still have to pay. The moment Madeleine saw that the file was already in the other side's hands, she understood that her little bit of capital was not even enough to fill the gap between his teeth. Continuing the conversation would only bring humiliation upon herself. After coming out, Madeleine did not say much to Keith. She only said that the robbers would not kill the hostages. The next day, inside the command vehicle, Keith felt that something was wrong. He had always believed that the police needed to try to drag out the situation in order to prepare thoroughly. But now he felt that
this whole time, we're trying to stall him, right? Wrong. They're the ones that's stalling. Think about it, the bullshit questions, the Albanian thing.
So you're saying
I'm saying that he wants to give us more time. He makes demands. He gives us deadlines. We stall, then he gives us more time. I don't think he's in a rush.
Why?
That's what I'm gonna find out.
from the very beginning, it was actually the robbers who needed time. They were the ones stalling the police. For example, the leader's demand for a plane to be prepared. Whether this demand was met or not, the police would still have to spend a great deal of time dealing with it. The most common tactic was that when the robbers asked whether the plane was ready, the police would say that arrangements were being made and that they should wait a few more hours. And now, it seemed that the leader only wanted to hear the police say exactly that. So Keith decided to make a surprise move.
Yeah.
Your plane is ready.
Is that a fact?
That's a fact, but I'm gonna need something from you first. I'm gonna need to come in there and make sure the hostages are okay.
You'll see them when they get on the bus.
I just need to make sure you're not leaving any bodies behind.
Meet me at the front door.
Keith entered the bank alone. The robbers told him to inspect all the rooms. With each room he entered, Keith became even more suspicious. These hostages did not even have any signs of injury. The last room held the hostages who refused to obey. After checking all the hostages, Keith had nothing more to say. The leader spoke with extreme caution. The hostages were fine, so prepare the plane. He did not mention anything else at all. This made Keith flush with anger.
Thank you. Very much. I'm learning so much today, you know? Look, why don't we go across the street to the Kalani Rose, huh? Forget about this dangerous hostage situation. I'll buy you a beer, my treat.
Thanks, Detective, but I'm trying to stay away from bars, if you know what I mean.
Well, if you change your mind, there's still a standing offer, all right?
That sounds like for the graveyard. Prison whites, toe tag. Make up your mind. Tick tock, tick tock.
Hey! We done?
You just crossed the fucking line. Buses, Kojak, parked outside. You think I'm bluffing? You roll the dice and see what happens.
Keith's move had almost succeeded, but in the end he gained nothing. The leader and his accomplices were drenched in cold sweat after returning as well. They had almost let the police see their faces, but fortunately it was only a close call. To show his anger, the leader called Keith and told him to adjust the camera outside so that it faced the window.
Give me a close-up on the second floor window.
Well, I'm on it.
He killed a hostage right in front of everyone. Keith was furious and rushed to the door once again.
What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
You mean beyond the obvious?
That's what I mean. Come on, this ain't no bank robbery.
This is your fault. I told you to get the buses.
Fuck you.
I didn't kill anybody.
I got 50 more people in here. You fuck with me again, I'll give you 2 of the longest days of your life.
All right. Just tell me what it is you really want, and I'll get it for you, I promise.
I've told you, 2 buses, a plane.
Right. And box seats behind home plate at Yankee Stadium. Come on, don't bullshitter. You planned every inch of this thing right from the start, and you got everybody marching to your beat, including me, and I'm through buying it.
You're too damn smart to be a cop. Now get the fuck out of here.
But you gonna shoot me? Do it, shit, you got nothing to lose. I damn sure ain't got nothing to lose, so shoot me. Do it. Shoot me.
Faced with Keith in a rage, the leader chose to ignore him. Police Chief Darius also arrived soon afterward. Because Keith had acted against orders, he was directly suspended from duty. From now on, there was no need for any more negotiations. Keith had been stripped of command. After that, Chief John immediately began planning an assault. With negotiations cancelled, the only option left was a gunfight. Just as they were simulating the combat scenario, Keith, outside, exchanged a few words with the first police officer who had arrived at the scene. By chance, he suddenly remembered something, then hurried back to the command vehicle and tore open the metal box that had been delivered earlier. He discovered that there was a listening device inside. In other words, the robbers had been fully aware of everything the police had been doing the whole time, including the assault plan that was about to be carried out. Keith hurried to stop Darius, who was preparing to lead the team in. While inside the bank, the leader also called his accomplices together and began the final move. The leader threw out several smoke bombs. Then the 4 robbers gathered together, quickly confirmed the plan, and split up, going into each room where the hostages were being held and ordering everyone to come out. Once all the hostages had come out, they also disguised themselves as hostages and blended into the crowd. Outside, a large group of SWAT officers attacked the first hostages, running out with rubber bullets.
Ceasefire! 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 Ceasefire!
The scene immediately became chaotic. Seeing that the people running out showed no sign of attacking, the police began restraining them one by one. Then a large number of officers rushed into the bank and searched every corner, leaving no place unchecked. But what was the result? The vault was still intact, and not a single dollar was missing.
Check this out. They forgot to rob the joint.
Holy shit. And you didn't find anybody?
We're still looking, but there are no bad guys, no booby traps, no tunnels, no damage.
And nothing missing. Great.
No suspects have been found, no bombs, no tunnel, no sabotage, and no robbery. So maybe we should put out a warrant for a magician. Based on this conclusion, Keith found the robber's gun in another room. It was a toy gun, not a real firearm at all. In the restroom, they saw the murder prop as well. It turned out that the hostage who had supposedly been killed earlier was fake too. Finally, in the storage room, they found the hostage's clothes. In other words, these 4 robbers seemed to have taken nothing and then vanished into thin air. Keith, of course, could not accept this result. They interrogated everyone one by one. At this point, it could be confirmed that the robbers were hiding among the hostages. However, during the interrogation process, they discovered that anyone who seemed suspicious had someone else proving that person had also been tied up and had been right next to them. In other words, the robbers' method of holding people in groups and randomly moving them from room to room was exactly what made every hostage appear innocent. Anyone could be a suspect, but everyone had someone else to prove that they were not. Because the bank had not lost any money and Arthur had also chosen to let the matter go, the most important point was that Keith did not have a single piece of evidence in his hands. All of the hostages claimed that they were victims. Each hostage could provide testimony for the others, so the police chief ordered the case to be closed, as if everyone had gone through a great deal of trouble for nothing. But Keith knew very well just how intelligent the leader was. After going to such lengths to rob a bank, only to end up taking nothing at all, it was simply too ridiculous. So he investigated the bank's information and suddenly discovered that since its establishment in 1948, this bank had never had a safe deposit box numbered 392. It went directly from number 391 to number 393. As for Madeleine, she went to see Arthur and told him that the file was now in the leader's hands. It was the thing that would keep him alive, and at the same time it was also the leverage to blackmail him. However, the file was not the robbers' real objective because they had not touched the cash at all. Their target was the diamonds. Arthur knew that the file would not be made public for the time being. Madeleine had, after all, provided him with some useful information. Moreover, now that she also knew the secret that he had once colluded with the Nazis, the millions of dollars in hush money still had to be paid. Holding the check for that enormous sum of money, Madeleine left in satisfaction. And what about the leader? He had been hiding the whole time in a sealed space. This place was located right behind the shelves in the bank storage room. First, he drilled a hole to use as a toilet. Then, through negotiating with the police, he demanded that they provide enough food and drinking water. Finally, he had his accomplices use the tools they had prepared in advance to build a perfect wall as a barrier. The bank cared about money, the police cared about the hostages, Arthur cared about the confidential file, and the thing the robbers were after was the diamonds the size of quail eggs. A week passed, and everything had calmed down. The leader pushed away the cardboard box outside and crawled out, reeking with a terrible stench. At this moment, several of his accomplices, disguised as hostages, were already waiting outside the bank. Unexpectedly, they saw Keith walking toward them. The accomplices hurriedly called the leader to tell him that Keith had entered the bank. After learning the situation, the leader did not change his plan at all. He carried 2 bags and deliberately bumped into Keith. Nothing unexpected happened. The leader successfully got into his accomplice's car. However, he had left Keith a little gift. Inside the bank, Keith investigated safe deposit box number 392. After opening it, he discovered that besides a few pieces of the robbers' chewing gum, there was also a diamond ring inside. On a piece of paper, it was written, "Follow this ring and investigate." By tracing the diamond ring, Keith found Arthur. This bank was the very first bank Arthur had opened. Safe deposit box number 392 in this bank had never been recorded, and the diamond ring inside was definitely hiding one of Arthur's secrets. Not only that, Keith also took the diamond ring to meet Madeleine.
This is the number in the War Crimes Issues office in Washington, D.C.
Keith, now holding the upper hand, did not say much. After stating his position, he stood up and left the dining table.
War crimes, huh? What have you got me into this time?
That evening, Keith returned home. After 2 exhausting days, he could finally sleep soundly. Just as he was taking off each piece of clothing, he suddenly felt a diamond in the pocket of his coat. That is the end of today's story. Thank you all for watching the film. What did you think of this movie? Leave a comment below.